Alright, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Great Teacher Onizuka, episode 10.
We're in the double digits.
Yes, we are. And Aizawa and her cronies have been foiled yet again.
Because of the
ditzy one.
The ditzy one. The double D. Except
No.
they were very specific about her being an F cup.
I think it was something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
But, I did not approve of the way those girls were treating her. Like, I think that's going to be the plot point, like, coming up of, like, at least this episode or the next episode.
Right.
Because this is something that I feel like they're using as their formula, and I really like it. It's that the students themselves have, like, this unspoken agreement with each other that we're all against the teachers, right?
Yeah.
And once one of them starts to waver in that,
then they attack each other.
They attack and cannibalize each other, and that forces them.
Yep,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, one often meets his destiny on the road he takes to avoid it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, hoping that Onizuka will have the wisdom and
presence of mind
to be able to handle this situation properly.
Right.
But it's Great Teacher Onizuka.
Yeah, he has.
Who knows what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
So it's gonna be crazy, and I'm excited. Without further ado, let's get into it. You know something I've always found funny about him is that he's ridiculously strong, right? Mm-hmm. But he doesn't have abs.
No.
I'm so happy that he has this, like, beer belly, like, little, like, pooch thing going on here.
Yeah, he's
because it's like, he doesn't care about, like, every aspect of his appearance.
Right.
It's more about, he's all about the charm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I just find that funny, because generally he's, like, kind of, I'm the protagonist, I'm cool.
Yeah.
They have, like, the perfect body, and it's like...
Right. An overabundance of scars and, like, just total V, torso chiseled and all that.
Yeah, the Adonis whatever V thing coming down towards the crotch,
Yeah.
But no, if anything, this guy is like...
Crash into the rolling morning flash.
I'm in the coolest driver's high.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah, if anything, he's not taking care of his body perfectly, and yet he's still ridiculously strong.
Right. He can punch through metal and, smash bowling balls and... Yep. I love the overabundance of noise on that shot.
Aww. All these memories are lost like tears in the rain. Oh.
Oh, no.
Jeez. Ouch. See, it feels like guys wage like... What? Sometimes I wonder what's wrong with you, but other times I'm just like, keep being you, bro. Keep being you.
One of the things that I find kind of funny is that for all the fuss they made about her boobs last episode, now she semes like a relatively normal
satin something
portion.
that they put on her. Wow, that's mean. See, it's like there's a psychological warfare that I think girls wage. Guys are way more blunt and stupid about it. We're just like, ugh, I hate you. We'll beat your face in, Maybe Futsuki will
Maybe?
どうしたの野村さん。あ、いえ、なんでもないです。でもこれ
アイスか。変だな。ここの売店アイスなんか売ってましたっけ？
そういうことじゃなくて、
あ、
もしそうならなんとかしないと。
そうっすね。
ちょっとちゃんと考えて
Yeah,
ます？
I get the feeling he might not be.
そうじゃなくて。
Oh my god! Oh my god! Wow!
市民革命の後、人々は国王の専制政治に
Is there some relevance to what he's talking about right now?
やる気ねえなあいつ。
Okay, now it's just being obvious.
Yeah.
あのゴミ箱。
お前一人でこんな方向いて何やってんだ？
いいんです。気にしないでください。ゴミ箱よね。クラスのゴミ箱なのよね。
Your voice grates on my ears!
何を隠してなくてのよ。
ああ、やめだやめだ。眠くて授業なんてやってらんねえぜ。ペットボトルロケットだ。
やるの？行こう行こう。教師だったら授業ぐらいしっかりやれっつ。
What's Onizuka's play here?
だからトロコにはとりあえず何もさせないことになってんだよ、このクラスじゃ。ろくなこと起こんねえかんな。
大丈夫だっつうの。
I think this is gonna be a multi-episode mini arc.
なあ野村。できたか？
ガラガラガラガラ。ただいま。お父さんのお帰りだぞ。あら、あなたお帰りなさい。今日はずいぶん早かったのね。
Aww.
うまそうだな。いただきます。
Leaking faucet is, yeah.
Yeah.
バラババラ。長男のケンジ様のお帰りだ。金だ、金出せ。
I give him a...
給料なんだろ？パラリラパラリラ。この家の問題児、帰ってきたんだ。早くなんとかしねえと、この家めちゃくちゃになっちまうぞ。
ほら、やめなさい、ケンジ。
よろしいからクソババ。この俺の暴走を止められるもんなら止めてみろ。
Oh.
Okay.
野村、おめえはねえのか？
Oh, they're tackling the whole thing of being the ideal woman, you
Uh-huh.
know?
Yeah, yeah.
And how she doesn't feel like she lives up to
Popularity
that.
and all that.
Beauty, singing.
Wait. They're in a sand area.
なんでもいいからよ。
Did Onizuka sculpt that?
Maybe.
じゃあ、携帯で何でもお話できるよ。
Oh.
こんなのか？
What? Yeah, he is making sand sculptures and stuff.
じゃあ、ロズウェル事件の。
What are you doing, Onizuka?
Oh my gosh.
変わった宇宙人とか。
どうしてそうなんですか？
どうですか、ともこは。迷惑かけてんじゃないですか？とろいでしょ、この子。いや、別に迷惑なんて。
Oh, it's Dad.
そうですか。ならいいです。
Gotcha. Cool.
あんたいい先生だね。よし、ビールと卵つけちゃおう。
Oh, wow.
He's like, oh, oh,
すんませんね。
He's like, this is my new favorite
ラ
place.
ーメン出来上がり。
ほら、ともこ、3番さんにお冷や2つ。
Oh.
早く。
今日は
Even the family is kind of.
先生、せっかく家まで来てくれたのに。
Yeah.
私っていつでもこうなんだ。お父さんやお母さん。
Come on, dude. Come on.
I was worried that it might be something like
変
that.
でしょ。家族の中で私だけとろいの。先生、何してるの？
いや、あんましでかいもんでつい。いや、あれ、お前のか？
うん。なんだかしまえなくてずっとここに置いてあるの。
Her old backpack, yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
小4の時みやびちゃんが一緒に帰ろうって言ってくれたの。私嬉しかった。みやびちゃんって可愛くて頭も良くてスポーツもすごいし、そんな人が私と一緒に帰ってくれるだけでもう胸がドキドキしちゃって、私ずっと憧れてたんだ。みやびちゃんみたいになれたらいいなってずっと。みやびちゃん、私のないものいっぱい持ってるから生きてる価値ないって感じだし。
Hey.
Onizuka is like, okay, I'm now aware of the situation.
Right.
お前が相沢に憧れてんのはよーくわかったよ。でもな、お前だって相沢の持ってねえもんいっぱい。
Exactly.
He's gonna ruin this in 2
Yeah,
seconds.
I know, but
どうだ
still.
野村、ここは一つ騙されたと思って俺に人生かけてみねえか。
Oh my gosh.
水香
What?
先生、一体どういうつもりなんだろう。
明日の朝8時、そいつを来て吉祥寺の駅前で待ってろ。お前をプロデュースしてやるぜ。
野村智子だからね。
はい。
アダルトビデオのプロデュースやってるもんなんだけど。
プロデュース、アダルトビデオ。
Does she even get what adult videos
ちょっと来て
means?
ほしいんだよね。
絶対
Maybe she'll just be taken to the beauty pageant thing,
それもそっか。
and she'll get entered, and
Sure.
and they'll dud her up to make her look
Right,
extra
right,
pretty, and she'll
exactly.
win.
Uh-huh.
You know.
みやび、こっち。
Oh, and some of the boys are here too.
And
So-
Onizuka invited them. So that-
Right, so that way they'll be like, whoa, she's like, they'll be all like fawning over
Yeah,
her
yeah,
rather
yeah.
than them. Yeah.
大丈夫、心配しないで。私たち別に怪しいもんじゃないから。
yeah, Onizuka vouched for them.
来るのにって頼まれただけのただの
So
一般市民。
I'm going
ちょ
to.
っとそこにある服着てみてくれる？ロリが巨乳。こういうことを
Oh
待
my
ち受けすんのよね。
gosh.
流されるしかないんだわ。
I think there's going to be a twist with this, but
Yeah, yeah.
it's
Uh-huh.
very nerve-wracking in the moment.
私は牛なのね。
よし、みんな集まったか。
Yes,
Oh,
okay.
boy.
おはよう、諸君。いやいや、いい社会科見学日和じゃない。
Yes, yes.
おうよ。
Onizuka's like, hey, Kaku, don't worry.
スターができるまでだ。
Oh my gosh.
スター誕生の瞬間をリアルタイムで見学しようって思考よ。あ、主役も揃ったことだし。
あ、先
I thought it was going to be more of like a surprise, like they wouldn't know she was there until she stepped on stage.
Right, right.
生。トロコ、なんて格好してんのよ、あんた。まさか今日スターになる子って。
もちろん野村だよ。野村智子。
Dun dun dun.
さあ、会場入んぞ。
あ、先生、なんか今日のオーディション、改ざんも出るみたいですよ。
俺は希望だな。野村が入ったんだな。
それではフジテレビプレゼンツ井の頭公園イメージが
Oh my
ミス
gosh.
井の頭ちゃん公開
Of course,
Ends it
yeah.
right there.
It ended right there, yeah.
Yeah. Woo. Okay.
Oh my gosh. I was so worried because
Yeah.
you know, it's something that the show I think is it intends to do to get us to be like, wait.
Uh-huh. Right.
Because there's not supposed to be any limits to what Onizuka will do.
Right. Exactly. And
But he does have respect for not only
yeah.
I would say others as an individual level, but also I would say for in some way how he treats them. So when it's directly tied to him, if it's not moving towards a specific solution that's going to leave them better than when he entered their life, I don't think he's going to do it. So even the times where he bungee jumps them off the bridge, you know, he's like,
Right.
oh yeah, don't worry, you'll be thanking me later.
Right. Right.
And that's the part where he kind of removes the whole, oh, I'm not asking you. This is happening. Like,
Yeah,
we're
right.
doing this.
Uh-huh.
And in some ways, he's not going to present Toroko, the girl,
yeah.
with the choice to do something like this because, unfortunately, she is a little bit slow with regards to, you know, what would be
Right.
the thing to kind of help build her confidence and stuff. But I do see this having some still potential backlash issues. Not backlash, but like ways in which it can still go wrong. Because in some ways it's coming into things in the next episode in the beginning, so there still has to be some kind of conflict, right? Okay.
All right. I was very worried at several parts.
Now, I'm just gonna say I don't think that this episode was actually a bad episode for the reasons by which we were worried specifically. I think that this episode struggled a little bit because of the way they incorporated flashbacks and kind of weird kind of camera stuff.
Sure.
With, like, no footage, like nothing happening on the footage and stuff, but...
And also, like, if we were to compare this... Okay, because this is very much a one-parter, right?
Right.
But if we were to compare this to...
part one.
Yeah, part one. Yeah. If we were to compare this to what happened with Kunio, though, that each episode was a standalone episode, right? They referenced each other, but with the first episode that we got, that was enough, right?
Yeah.
It told a little mini story in there.
Totally.
And it was great. Whereas with this one, it definitely had some sweet moments. Like I loved Onizuka just coming up and playing with her in the sand, and Kenji.
Your first son, delinquent Kenji, with his motorcycle.
Give me money. Yeah, you guys got paid, right? This was payday. So, but it was one of those things where I don't think this episode can really be taken on its own. It needs to be taken both with the context of the previous episode
and the next one. So yeah. But I like what they're doing here. I was worried about the whole car thing, but I think that it's something that it was laid on too thick in the beginning, so we knew it wasn't going to be an issue.
Yeah.
But it still made me nervous. The thing that I really liked about this episode, though, was they brought up the whole topic of how the girls in this class have, all of them in some ways, some fragile, I wouldn't say egos, but views of themselves. And this is something that all the guys have in some ways as well. It's just in different forms.
Right.
But for the girls, there's this part of comparison, something that the guys, I would say, don't really seem to have as much of an issue with. They have other issues. Right. But with this one, in that Miyabi just happens to be the ringleader because she's the best.
Right.
And, no one can compare to her. It's something that Onizuka might be fighting the wrong battle here by trying to give her something that they can't compare to. Now, I think that there's a cool double entendre here where he can give her something that Miyabi or Aizawa, whatever you want to call her, would then just go, whoa, okay, that's a big deal.
Right.
But then showcasing how ultimately it doesn't really matter. This is basically just a thing I'm doing to help you gain more confidence in yourself.
Right. Sort of like, it almost seems like a fake it till you make it kind of a thing, because he's basically saying, you think there's nothing good about you, right?
Which is wrong, obviously.
Which is wrong. And I'm going to show you one of those things, and show you in such a way so that you basically realize that there's things that you don't see, right?
Sure.
And that those things can be brought to light in, and he's doing it in a very specific and literal sense, but,
right?
But basically, so that way she doesn't feel like what other people say about her is the end-all be-all truth of the matter.
Yeah. One thing that I'm noticing here is, I was saying earlier that the girls, I think I didn't get to go too much into it during the reaction, but I was saying that these girls seem to wage like psychological warfare on each other, specifically Aizawa.
Yep.
And in some ways, Onizuka is about to be waging psychological warfare on the entire class.
Yes.
In some ways, using her as the weapon. And now, this is the part which makes it feel a little weird, is that he is kind of using her to do that. But what could end up happening here is that she goes up on stage and everyone else is like, oh my gosh, she's actually
gorgeous, and
and then all the guys who are then like, no, not her, no, are like, whoa, wait a minute. And in some ways, it's not going to be that she's going to immediately get confident. It's that she's going to realize that other people like her, and it's not going to be, completely just for, her attractiveness and such, but that'll be the start.
Yeah.
And in some ways, that's something that I really feel like there's there's a weird, how would I say this? There's a weird stigma I've seen. And a lot of, I would say, weirdly from adults. So you're gonna kind of cringe at this a little bit. But what I've seen actually a lot of from adults is this type of kind of weird, veiled, controlled kind of comparison jealousy thing. So here's my scenario here. This is not a completely hypothetical or completely real scenario. It's a mix of things that I've seen, experiences, and then also just trying to prove my point here. So don't take it too literally. But the point is, let's take the character of the girl. Is it Toroko or Tokoro?
Yeah, Toroko, but I'm not sure if that's what they call her to be mean.
Her to be mean, or her actual name. So she is a very well endowed young girl, and very pretty. And people are surprised that, you know, she's so young and stuff. One of the things I've seen from adults, people who are older, look at someone who just naturally has a body that just happens to have either more curves or just more general attractive qualities to it in some ways. And this is way more skewed towards women. And they do like whatever they can to suppress that, to try and in their good intention thing, to make them think like it's not about your beauty,
right?
That's
not everything.
That's not everything,
which is important.
It's so twisted the way it's done. Though.
Yeah.
To call it important is missing the point of what I'm trying to bring up here.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that it's a weird form of control so the thing is, it's skewed more towards those that have those physical characteristics that they can't control, and then the ones that don't have maybe, say, well-endowed breasts and stuff, they don't care about suppressing their physicality and, you know, attractiveness in that regard. It's a very weird thing that I would say is more so a Western culture thing than I would say something that would apply into this setting here.
Sure, because it's like, I feel like it's one of those things where confidence is more likely to be mistaken for arrogance the more competent you are in whatever field it is that you're being confident in. So whether it's in like physical looks, right, or just like being good at something, right,
interesting,
or whatever, right, the more confident you are, that can be mistaken as arrogance, because then it's like, oh, do you think you're better than me? You know, or something.
Well, that's
like
a comparison thing. That's immediately the person comparing them to themselves. Right. The other person to themselves.
And in the case of the adults, that can oftentimes be something where they're kind of
subconsciously comparing
to how they were when they were younger, basically. And maybe taking out some of their frustration on... Yeah,
and we don't see that really in this episode.
No,
and in fact, in a weird way, I see the exact opposite happening. Something where the adults, in this case Onizuka and the two guys in the van, are encouraging, in some ways, a way that I would say it goes a bit too much. But the fact that they have her not in something that's
like all things considered, I was rather surprised with the outfit that
choice
they gave her. Yeah,
right. If anything, Onizuka is the one that gave her
a bunny costume and
cosplay bunny outfit and stuff. Said go stand out there.
Yeah,
and this is the thing, guys. There's nothing wrong with wearing any of these things.
Oh yeah.
No. It's just
the fact that the teacher is telling a 14-year-old to do this.
Yeah, and in some ways, he is probably in a good way. When all is said and done, we get to look at the next episode. He is using her to wage psychological warfare on the rest of the class.
Sure.
And in some ways, to build her own confidence.
Right.
So he is in some ways pushing his own boundaries a little bit, because he thinks that the end result will be that she'll have a little bit more belief in herself. She'll have a little bit more confidence. She'll have a little bit more, I would say not arrogance, but pride. Like a little bit, just it's okay to be proud of yourself.
Right, comfortable in her own skin. Because one of the things that I thought was really cool in this episode is that it wasn't just that like Onizuka is a very loud, brash person, right?
Right.
So anytime that he basically gets quiet and does a lot of listening and precision questioning, that's when I
Right.
get really excited. Because, and in this one, he asked her what it was that she wanted, basically.
Ah,
right?
sure.
And he didn't enact his plan until he realized, okay, what, why does she not have confidence in herself,
Right.
and what are the things that are basically
Like holding her back.
that are holding her back? What's
Yeah.
what's the negative self-talk up here that's going on? And then he addressed that specifically, right? Or at least one of those in this case, her looks.
Yes.
And then hopefully from there that can snowball into the
other
rest of
things.
them. Yeah.
I think it's a very similar situation to Kunio in that Kunio wasn't solved. Like, his whole problems and stuff weren't completely solved in those 2 episodes.
Sure.
Like, he still, has some issues with Onizuka.
Yeah. Right.
Like, he's still kind of figuring out his whole, mommy complex, too. He's still, like, trying to figure out his anger and his
Right. Not running away from his problems.
running
and
away
all
from his
that.
problems and stuff. So, in some ways, I could see this being a nice step, because we haven't had any of the ladies in the class have any kind of transformation of sorts via Onizuka up until this point. He's been, strictly going through Yoshikawa, the guy that had the glasses that does the Photoshopped photos and stuff. I guess the first episode,
Kizuki?
technically.
Yeah.
No, that was Mizuki.
Oh,
yeah. She was probably not a in canon,
She's
character.
Just the pilot established the
Yeah, establishing the premise.
Kikuchi. That's right. Yeah.
No,
Kikuchi.
no. It was Mizuki here.
No. Kikuchi is the dude with the glasses.
Oh, Kikuchi is the
Yeah.
dude with the glasses.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And maybe this will also be a way to get at eventually what's going on with Aizawa, because
Sure.
in some ways you need to break the what do they call that, the what in Mean Girls, what do they call the group of the
clique?
girls? Well, no, obviously there's the clique, but there's a word.
The pack.
Yeah, the pack. Just break the pack of wolves apart a little bit so that you can kind of sneak your way
Right.
into the whole situation and be able to have some influence over them, and maybe even get them to open up a little bit as to what's going on.
Yeah.
Maybe it won't happen here, but what I could see happening is that Aizawa slowly starts to drive away the others. Like, what happens here if the other girls are like, wow, we're so sorry, like, this is really cool.
You're
And then
gorgeous,
and then they go to Aizawa or Miyabi, they're like, isn't this awesome? Like, trying to bridge the gap there.
Yeah.
And then she, like, no.
Well, and one of the things that I'm really excited about here is that, and I feel like I didn't really, like, catch on to this because of, like, how the previous episodes went, because they were very, like, they were very standalone episodes, right? They stood on their own ground, and it wasn't something where it was giving the idea of an overarching linear sort of hop around approach. But they could do this here where they don't have to completely resolve her arc right now.
Well, that's what I said earlier.
Well, right. But even with, like, the next episode and things like that, and then they can jump around to the other characters and do that with all of them, so that as the show goes on, it's not just we're focusing on this character right now until their things more or less done.
You mean, like, basically what they've been doing all the way up until this point? Just
Right.
going through every student.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course they're going to continue doing that. I think the question is this something that's going to snowball directly into Aizawa's group of girls, or is this just going to be a thing that punches a chink in their armor, and then slowly but surely over time we put more and more chinks before we actually tackle
breaking
the
all
beast.
the seals before you can,
Exactly. There's a ritual here that goes to dealing with the beast.
Yeah.
That is Aizawa. Yeah.
But I am really excited to watch all of these kids change and grow and all of that as the show goes on, because I feel like we won't necessarily be getting introduced to that many more characters, if any, of, like, students in the class. Like, this might be about all there is.
I mean, they have a good, I would say, 12 to 15 characters already kind of in the story.
Yeah, kind of.
And I'd say they could put in more. They will just be, like, one-off characters or something like that.
Right.
But yeah, there's quite a few characters, actually.
Yeah.
Even though most of them aren't named, or they are named, but they're like.
It's like they said their name
at
one time.
Girl 1 and Girl 2 next to Aizawa,
exactly.
you know?
Yeah.
Like, they probably said
the
their
ads
names
for the boss, you know. It's
exactly.
It's how these things go.
But, I mean, we weren't thinking at all about Toroko, like, up until this point.
No.
Really.
Nope.
I mean,
we weren't.
Up until the end of the last episode. And then it's
Right.
like, oh, shoot.
Yeah.
We're going to get into the whole bullying, you know, manipulation side of things coming from Aizawa, and who bears the brunt of this. In some ways, it reminds me a lot of Azula and Ty Lee.
Oh, yeah.
The thing is that Ty Lee in Avatar had her thing that no one else could do, so she had a lot of confidence. Actually, she had a lot of power and belief in herself.
Right, she had her own identity.
Right, but the thing was that she was unreasonably connected to Azula in a way that I think even some of the fandom like started to question it, because it was like, wait, she's so bubbly and cheerful. Why does she not have any friends? And it's like, I think in some ways, Ty Lee always wanted Azula's approval. You know, because she was even more perfect by her comparison than
she was.
Than Ty Lee was. Right. And
and Azula made her leave all her friends.
Yeah, there's that as well. Or I mean, we never saw those friends.
Right, we never saw those friends, but you know, she said she was happy there and she'd probably been there for a while, so, you know. But then TV calls. Yeah. Yeah,
well, to bring that over here with Aizawa and, you know, Toroko, Aizawa seems to be the one that just, you know, has all the you know, privileges and things that just worked out in her favor and stuff. But she is not happy.
Yeah, and we also
know that there's a lot of other problems that she's got dealing with there. But you know, Toroko, in some ways, if she was able to have a little bit of value in herself, I could see her being in some ways just completely free. Like what has Aizawa done for her in a way that makes her feel like she owes something to her since that time in the past when she was actually nice
probably
to
not
Toroko.
much.
Not much, probably.
One of the things that's also very interesting is that we got something this episode. We got description of Aizawa's family.
Ah, yes. Her father is the president of a company.
Right. So this seems like the kind of thing, almost like what they did with Toroko, of just, you know, dropping little bits here and there.
Yeah.
But point. You know, the trickle has continued for Aizawa. So
yes,
that's something to think about, because I did not expect her to be the person that came from everything.
Yes.
I expected her to be more of the person that came from more of a rough family, and because of that, she knew how to be basically sort of rough and take charge of the class and whatnot.
Sure. But now it's the opposite. And if anything, it's now a question of, this is something that I was wondering was there some kind of abuse involved? Maybe it's not that. Maybe it's just that her father is the kind of iron fist ruler and will get what he wants. And the thing is that they came from nothing. And he built a company. And it's an underdog story.
Yeah.
Like, in some ways you could probably, I'm extrapolating way too much out of this here, but maybe it's the thing that he built something out of nothing and he had to do whatever it took to get there. And now there's that little bit of the, all who gain power are afraid to lose it. So if Aizawa basically sees, her dwindle on her power, that she probably, did what she had to do in order to get these girls to be her
entourage, her lackeys.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, what we could be seeing is just the crumbling of her little mini empire that she believes she has in her head. And what I'm guessing is that her father is the kind of person who, if it all crumbled, then we could see something a little bit rough. And that's what Aizawa
all I will say
as well
is that if we see her throw a brush through a mirror, then
we know where Avatar got some of its inspiration from. I mean that's a bit of a stretch.
Oh yeah.
That's a bit of a stretch. There's a lot of stories like this out there.
No, I know.
But I'm just saying. Yeah. All right, guys. I think that this is it for this episode. It's very much a part 1 episode.
But
there were a lot of sweet little moments there.
Mhm.
I think it is one of the weaker episodes that we've
Probably.
seen thus far.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of potential as to where it can go. So we're
And
excited for that.
the sand playing was fun.
The sand playing was hilarious.
That was
yeah.
awesome.
Also, the random little "I am a ninja, nameless ninja.
Yeah.
Don't fall in love with me," and then and then he just
And then
fades
he
out of
actually-
existence.
yeah,
It's
disappear.
like, wait, what?
Yeah.
What? I don't know. Just the random humor and the
Uh-huh.
faces. It's hilarious.
Yep.
But guys, if you want to see the next episode's reaction right now, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, where you can chat with us about stories or whatever. And if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb,
I'm Jacob.
and we'll see you all next time.